morning, everybody. Welcome to the Love Pod. This is my very special guest. I always point the wrong way. You may recognize him from Survivor or House of Villains. It is Jonny Fairplay at the top of the season 1 House of Villains lineup. Of course, welcome back, Jonny.
I gave up half my payment for that. I was just like,
Did you really?
no.
Oh.
So no method to the madness. I think they just felt like my hair would be blocking if it wasn't at the top.
But that's where you deserve to be.
Sure, I agree.
Now, you've been watching, obviously, this season. How do you feel it stacks up to your season?
It's great in that I feel it's a different animal. The theme is the same, 10 of the greatest villains of all time, with the return of New York. But I feel they're playing different. There's a different vibe. And they're just so it's like this season is 10 Bobby Lights in the house versus
I can see that.
We had one. And so even though there is quote unquote gameplay happening, just the emotional reactions to anything is so over the top versus last season. Like, I think we were a little thicker skinned.
Do you feel like that's for show? Because I feel like they're really trying to put on a show, like with Candy's reactions to things. No, that's just how they are.
I think they're all that emotionally temperamental.
Okay. That's hard for me to believe because it does seem so silly, some of the things that they react to.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at their character outside of these shows, and you're looking at the stars of each of these shows where they are the person. And so if everything's not going their way, it's almost a slap in the face. And if you're slapped in the face, you react accordingly.
Yeah. Are you surprised by how anybody's reacting based on how they are on their shows?
No. Okay. At first, my biggest almost disappointment was Hatch, in that, it's just like Hatch is literally playing the same game he played in 2001, and this is a different game. And he, if you go back and watch Survivor Borneo, it wasn't like Hatch was well liked by everyone, and so it's the same guy playing the same game, and you would think that the genius that he is, that he explains to you, over and over, that there would be that adaptability, and we literally saw. I mean, he was literally just the odd old guy. And the old guy can work, but you have to be the endearing old guy and not the old and somewhat abrasive old. I like Hatch is literally screaming to people, "Do you not understand how much smarter I am than you, and how I should be doing so much better at this than you?" And they're just like, "But how many Instagram followers do you have?"
I know. It's a different era and a different game, and it doesn't seem like he's caught up. There are going to be spoilers here, guys. Sorry, but we're recapping the episode. So if you don't want spoilers,
no future spoilers. We don't
have that.
But yes. So going into, if you did not watch last night, maybe be a good time to check out and check back. Or if you don't care, we're going to give you some insights on what to look for when you do watch the episode.
Yeah, I will say I was surprised that I feel like Teresa is kind of very mellow and low key right now, and it looks like from the preview
that looks like it changes next week.
Yes, very kind of like your edit where you were like really quiet in the background at first.
Well, with me, there was a method to the madness. Like, I didn't want to win Super Villain of the Week till episode 4. I wanted to lay low and just kind of be like a calming presence throughout the house. Just to say good morning to everyone. Throw out a compliment a day to every person in the house, really downplay exactly how I was on the show, and even the significance of Survivor. I mean, you have Wes walking around the house going, "The greatest show of all time." And so for all you challenge fans, take note. Wes did say that Survivor is the greatest show of all time. So So, and this whole Reddit discussion, how can Jonny Fairplay say he's more famous than Johnny Bananas? Well, his protege, his partner in crime, Wes, literally just said Survivor's a bigger show than The Challenge. I had 36 million people watching my finale. Do the math, carry the one. I'm more famous than Johnny Bananas.
And it's different. It's just such a different game and such different fan base, I think, because reality TV, just because you watch one show doesn't mean you carry over to the other. I know they're trying to make that happen.
Especially now, it's so niche now with streaming platforms and the different, I had never seen an episode of Love or Hip Hop ever in my entire life, but I was aware of it. I cover reality television. I'm aware of all these, it's just like, hey, there's a new show. It's just like, oh, well, if I had time, I may check that out. I probably won't. I'm too busy covering Survivor, The Challenge, The Summit, Love is Blind. I'm watching all these other shows. So, but with the advent of reels and TikTok and stuff like this, I am seeing a Bobby Lights enter my atmosphere. I am seeing a Safari. The queen of the meme is New York. But these players from these shows like Love or Hip Hop and Real Housewives, they don't watch this other stuff. Like Larsa, she's seen Survivor. I doubt Teresa's ever seen Survivor. I'd be willing to bet Safari's never watched Survivor. I just did a tour of Scotland and London, and other than the airport, no one recognized me from Survivor in either country. But people did recognize me from House of Villains.
Yeah. It's, if you haven't watched Survivor since the beginning, it's been going on for so long. So you've kind of like changed out the players. But House of Villains was kind of like a sleeper hit. I didn't know what to expect, but I liked you. I liked a lot of the other cast members, Bananas and Shake, obviously. Sure. I mean, the whole cast was amazing.
No, it was great. I mean, like, Bananas got a sneak peek of episode 1. He got it early, and he was just like, "Oh, they got nothing on us this season." But I went in a little more, and of course, our text group, it was like, "Yeah, that's right. We're the originals. We own this play." Whatever. I went in a little more open minded, and there was some choices that I was like, maybe I would have gone this direction, but they are kind of pigeonholed in the fact that if you're trying to do like kind of a 50-50 split, guys and girls, you're not casting a guy from Bad Girls Club. You're not casting a guy from Real Housewives. I guess you could get a husband, but
you could, yeah.
So you are kind of stuck with a guy from Survivor and a guy from The Challenge.
I feel like Bananas has to say that, though, of course, because of his rivalry with Wes, and Wes is
his rivalry / their BFFs. I mean,
I know.
If they hated each other so much, they would have blocked each other 12 years ago.
I do love how on these shows there can be this element of competition and rivalry, but at the end of the day, you guys can kind of leave the game behind and still be friends.
Well, we'll see about this cast because it's so crazy. You go back to season 1, and the first opportunity I had to sabotage, and Jax is just sitting there, and I'm just licking my chops. I'm just like, oh, hold my beer, watch this. We saw the opportunity to sabotage here on episode 4, and they're just like, and that opportunity was given to not necessarily a gamer in Larsa, which has been on Traders, but we're not seeing that element of her game, and it's just like, oh no. But rewind episode 1 or 2, they kind of run together for me because I just watched them back to back, and you had the FU lever, and it's just like, of course someone's pulling the FU lever, whether they're moving or not, because it's like Johnny Bananas explained, the whole taking of the money from Sarah Rice. So his role as a actor, quote unquote actor on the show, he was given there was an instrument introduced into the game in which it's there to be used. If Johnny Bananas doesn't take Sarah's money, Johnny Bananas probably isn't asked back next season, because it's just like, dude, you understood the assignment. We put this here for you to use it. This is television. We're making a television show. More than anything else, we're not trying to figure out who the greatest challenger is. We're not trying, all that is secondary to making great television. And so when Johnny Bananas is given the option, he's just like, this option's here for a reason. I understand the assignment. I'm taking her money.
That is a different approach, though, because there's been points in the challenge where like CT and Casey split their prize money with the other finitalists.
Yeah,
and that was a different kind of moments. But I know that's not Bananas gameplay. That's
no. And hence, how many times has been, I mean, CT just wins because of just pure power. Bananas wins through multiple alleys of means.
Mm-hmm. And I love Sarah so much. She's so kind. I've never had a chance to meet Bananas yet, but I love him too. I don't think you have to pick a side. I think
no, I don't. So and as far as you talk about the greatness of CT wasn't given a late night talk show on NBC after Carson Daly.
Yeah, that's true too. He's got his own
CT
talk show going on now
Instagram
with his girlfriend.
And I'm just like, why is CT doing this?
I know the things he posts. I'm like, I mean, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but that is one crazy character. Like, he seems completely different online than he seems on the show.
Yeah. So, and and the fact that he's like, you see Bananas and some of the other challenge people on their social media. Bananas owns Rumble Boxing. Like he is literally training every day. Like, we were doing press week last year for season 1, and it's just like, hey, what are you doing? He's just like, dude, let's head to the pool and grab a beer. I'm like, sweet. And he's like, all right, I'll see you in about 90 minutes. I got to head to the gym. And I'm just like, dude, like, it's press week. You're on vacation. He goes, yeah, I got to go to the gym. So whereas CT shows up, he's like, we're filming for 3 months. I'm showing up fat, and they're literally going to pay me to work out every day, and no one's going to put me in an eliminator until the end because they're scared of me, even if I'm fat.
Now, that does bring up a question that I've always had, and if you can't answer this, it's okay. But is there enough incentive in the prize money that you want to win the prize, or is it good enough with whatever everybody's making week to week or for their appearance that, you want to win because you're competitive, but if you don't, you're still taking home a bag?
Well, there's for the challenge, there's a pay tier based on the number of challenges you've done in the past.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go into numbers because it's
that's not what I'm asking.
But I will tell you this: if you are a CT or a Bananas or a player like that, it's 6 figures just for showing up.
Okay.
So
that's pretty nice.
Is there a drive in some of these people to want to get the million? Sure. But, is there some that, maybe going in with a sprained ankle, they're not mentioning to production, and then, it's just like, oh man, I couldn't do it. Just like, well, I'm still good. That could be the case.
I do feel like, though, they tend to, whether it's because of their history on the show, nobody wants to throw them in, or like, I was surprised when Richard was eliminated this week. I really entertainment value wanted him to stay around, and now I don't know Safari from his show, so I'm trying to like catch up. But if I had to choose
entertainment value, I didn't think Hatch killed it there either.
Really? I felt like the deception, the alliances.
I guess it was fun watching the odd old guy in the house. I wanted, like, I don't know. I wanted a cool version of Hatch. I mean, I guess it's cool that he wasn't cool.
You need a little bit of that. You can't have everybody super glam and super
but even being super glam and all that, they all have their deficits that are entertaining, and that's the good thing about House of Villains. They do show you their vulnerabilities.
Yes,
And
like
I
that.
think that's what makes some of them endearing and others just entertaining for whatever reason.
I love everybody coming back this season. You probably can't tell me if you're gonna make an
I
appearance.
don't.
You don't?
I
Oh,
don't.
did they
I
ask you to
was I was supposed to. There was three different scenarios for the finale.
Okay.
And one of them was basically me giving a similar rant to what I did at the end of season one. This isn't a popularity contest. This isn't your best friend contest. We are here to recognize the greatest villain
Mhm.
of all, of the year or of all time, whatever. And, like sitting in your closet and doing nothing, in my mind, doesn't deserve a crown. And so they wanted me to do something similar to that. And going into the finale, I guess it was just so heated and so rivalrous and like and just and they understood the assignment and they're just like they felt it would be a waste for it's just like, why are you going to tell them what they already know?
Yeah.
So
Do
that's
you
good.
do you feel like your season, we didn't get to talk about the finale, yet the biggest, the greatest villain won?
Uh,
I'll go
Sure.
first. I don't. I love the way it played out, but I don't think she was the super villain. I'm glad that she won, but as far as villain terms, I don't
I'll say
agree with
this.
that title.
I'll say this. Omarosa sued the network after the show,
Stop.
and I don't know the outcome, but I have a feeling the greatest villain won.
That's fair.
So yeah, I feel like the outcome was achieved in post.
Yeah, really, I did not know that. I
Yeah,
do, Bananas, it was a complete turnaround with Bananas really kind of, I felt like handing the final crown to Tanisha as
yeah,
opposed to pulling a challenge moment with Sarah. So, um, yeah,
yeah.
I
I
didn't.
I, I think that I when we were initially pitched on the idea of House of Villains, because there was like a Todrick, he was offered a spot on season one, and he said no because he was working on image repair, and
Okay,
and so
sure.
and but like if he had actually read the initial email, I'm sure he just turned it over to his manager, and they're like, hey, we got this show
Mhm.
House of Villains. He's like, oh God, no. The initial pitch, and they said this during our Zoom, is you can make what you want of this. Like, if you want to go down as the greatest villain of all time, here's your opportunity. However, if you feel that you were misread or misinterpreted and you don't consider yourself a villain, here's your chance to show the world that you're not.
Yeah, it turned my opinion around of a lot of the cast, especially of season 1, because you're expecting to go in not liking certain
I
people. I
hate
won't say
everyone.
hate,
Yeah,
but yeah, but you really like, I think Shake probably the biggest example of all last season
absolutely.
where you're going in like, "Oh, I can't stand what he did," and then you watch him and you're like, "Oh, no, he's actually pretty cool." Like, I
Yeah,
like
I
his
mean, he
version of
was swimming
Shake.
with sharks, so like you kind of feel sorry for the guy. So
Yeah.
in Jax, I think Jax came off better than he entered. Uh, I think I came out, but like that wasn't the goal. My goal my goal was just to win. It was to do some to do evil shit. To solidify myself as one of the greatest villains of all time. But like the people I did it to when I did it, like they're just like, yeah, that like you did that for us, and I'm like, oh no.
No, no, I did not.
So it kind of I felt I played more with my heart than I've
Mhm.
ever played a game before, which possibly definitely my downfall. But at the same time, I'm beyond proud of what I did. Like I don't think I would change anything. I mean, my fiance is probably listening, and she's like, "Yeah, you would."
Yeah, I'd win.
Yes. Well, no, I would definitely change that part of it. So, but I consider Bananas a friend, and like I was gonna strike, but I wasn't gonna strike yet. So, and to this day, he's just like, "Oh, you did that on purpose," and I'm like, "No, I did not." Like he thinks because so Bobby Lights had another gig is why he
Oh
left.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like he nominated himself and all that, and so he
In
had that like
fashion.
Bobby and I, we were roommates, but like our conversations were about my kids and about just Bobby. And so, Bobby wasn't, we weren't talking about, but Bobby wasn't telling me, so like, oh, I got this other gig, I got to go or whatever. So, but him and Tanisha would have these late night conversations, and he mentioned to Tanisha, and Tanisha told Bananas.
Okay. Well,
So,
yeah,
so when
okay.
he does that,
Yeah.
Tanisha's like, "Oh yeah, Bobby told me the other night he's got this other gig, he's leaving." And Bananas
Yeah.
is like, "You knew that?" And I'm
Yeah.
just like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Why did you choose him?" I'm just like, "Cause he's my roommate." And I'm just like, if I was under the assumption that he's not going anywhere, and I don't want to live with a crazy Bobby Lights as my roommate.
I
I've
don't
seen what
blame
he's
you.
done to the people he doesn't like. I'm staying on the friend side of this.
Mhm.
So, like Bananas purposely chose the 3-bedroom room because he wanted to have communication with 2 other people at all times. I purposely chose a 2-person room because I wanted to sleep at night.
I think I would go that route too. Just the constant strategy of even picking a room, that wouldn't even cross my mind, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why I would be a
When
terrible villain.
Bananas first entered the house, like I took him upstairs and he goes, "You take this side of the house, I'll take the other." So we purposely did that to divide and conquer.
Okay. Yeah, constant strategy.
Yeah.
You can
There's
tell who's
none of
like,
that going on this season. Like, well, there
"No."
is, but like the 2 people are literally showing you that, like, here is my strategy and accept my strategy for being the greatest. Where it's if you're looking at the landscape, I think Camilla and Jesse probably playing the 2 best games in the house because they are like Jesse is literally playing dumb muscle boy, taking off his shirt at all times for
The pecs
everyone to
kill
look
me.
at. And then Camilla's just like, "Oh, please mansplain some more to me." When she's just like, "I've watched every episode of Survivor. I know who you are. I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I know how to like I should have been on Survivor. And guess what? I would have been a winner too." So, but you have Wes and Hatch and all these over the top. It's just like, "Here's what I'm doing. Look,
Mhm.
please, tell me how great I am." And I see these 2 under the radar people paying like Jesse. We had an interview with Jesse the other day, and Jesse's just like he goes, "This isn't Big Brother. Whereas Big Brother, you talk strategy nonstop. Wes, as you see, talks zero strategy. Bananas talks zero strategy. That's the way he plays the game. But they're here to tell you how great they are." Jesse was just like he goes, "I'm walking around, and every conversation is, how many Instagram followers do you have? How many views did you get on this TikTok? And whatever Gucci purse or shoes." And so so every day, like Jesse is just like, "Hey, looks saw your Instagram. Oh my God, you have so many followers. Like, oh, you're just amazing." And they're like, "Oh, Jesse, he's so dumb and beautiful, but he says the right things." And it's just like, secret, he's not dumb. You're dumb for believing that he's dumb and telling you this stuff.
He is playing very under the radar. I really like it. I haven't apparently they can open doors, so that's something I learned
Yeah.
today.
So I think Jesse's game as of right now is very similar to mine on season 1.
I know your history. I don't know Jesse's history other than there's a Jesse super fan who is very supportive of the podcast. And when they saw that we were covering House of Villains, is now totally down for whatever that we're doing. And so I've gotten a lot of insight into Jesse just through that. And he's really growing on me. But I will ride till the end for Wes. I love Wes. I'm sorry, Bananas, he's my favorite challenger. I'm
No.
sorry. But I love Bananas too. But
I did an appearance in Chicago. God, probably 2005 or 6. And so I did an appearance on like a Wednesday night, and Brad from the challenge was throwing a party the next night. And so it was like me, Katie Doyle, Melinda, and Wes, and Brad, and maybe one other. Derek might have been there. I'm not positive. But anyway, I met Wes for the first, and I wasn't a fan, when watching the show. So, but I was friends with a lot of other challenge people, and you can separate what you see on TV from real life, of course. And he was a sweetheart, and I told him, I was just like, hey, I don't like you on the show. He's like, but you're a great dude. And so it's just like that. Wow, thank you. So very, very, very humble, very nice.
And then Melinda and Sarah were supposed to come out to the shelter. I was doing a shelter walk that morning. It was so kind of them to even offer to come out, because I try to do these shelter walks and raise awareness like you do. You just did that run.
Yeah, I just did a half marathon, and I raised over $2,000 for Homeward Trails animal rescue. Yeah.
It is so life-changing. As somebody who has been in rescue for a long time, and I won't go too much off on this tangent, but $2,000 is such a huge deal to these shelters. It covers medical bills. It covers foster expenses. I mean, it really does save lives. So thank you for doing that, because it is very hard to.
Don't tell anybody. I'm a bad guy, remember? I'm trying to get on House of Villains All-Stars. I'm ruining my rep by the second.
Oh, I mean, no, you did it terrible. I can't believe you pretended to.
Yeah. Well, I don't like dogs, so there's that. I just did it for the cats.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, cats are more villainous than dogs. So you're right in line there. But I
have a cat that walks and goes on car rides and all that. So I get to do all the dog stuff just with the cat. It's fine.
Speaking of catty, everybody gets so upset when they get nominated. The odds are good that you're going to get nominated for the hit list. Is it really that shocking?
I only got nominated once.
But out of, 10 episodes? Yeah. I mean, you would think everybody I haven't done the math, but is there anybody who hasn't been nominated for the hit list?
I think everyone was on the block my season. So, yeah, but if I had avoided that bananas attack, I would have gone unnominated the entire time.
I feel like your odds are pretty decent. It can't be that surprising unless it's for show. But that knock blocker was so fun.
I think it was supposed to be called the cock blocker, and I think standards and practices stepped in, and I was just like, okay.
There's no,
they say you can't say that, but like literally we have Victoria with every the smallest cock she's ever had in her hand, and pretty powerful little cock.
She was the last one I wanted to get it, just because I didn't think she was gonna use it to the fullest extent and have as much fun with it as she did. But then I'm glad she did, because I want Wes
the perfect one to have it. So,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they told her to go to the refrigerator. If anyone in the cast to have it, I think she was the best. So because based on the situation with Camilla having superpower of the week, like I think Candy would have been fun with it.
Yeah,
but not under those. Camilla would have left it the same, or possibly put up New York. So I think for television entertainment purposes, Victoria was the best.
What do you think of New York coming back for a second run?
I mean, it's great. So the crazy thing is, if you follow social media, Reddit alone, when New York was voted out, it was just like, I've never watched this show, blah, blah, blah. And it was just this huge uproar. And, and New York wanted to go at the time. I didn't no one. I was working with New York, and if New York kind of tells you, it's just like, I'm listening to what you're asking. I'm scared not to. So, but New York doesn't read any social media. I don't think New York has ever been on Reddit. I don't even
really.
Know
okay, I could see that. A lot of cast has not purposely avoid Reddit. Fair enough, because it's pretty brutal.
So, but I don't even think she knows what it is. And so when they're just like, hey, we want to bring you back, and she was like, yeah, right. And she was like, no, there was this huge, she was like, who? And they're like, everyone. She's like, really?
I love her, and I love the throwbacks. I mean, obviously, you guys couldn't have prior contestants on because it's the first season, but everybody coming back on, going to Jax's for the first
Sure. And no one
reward
drinks.
challenge.
The wrong people went to Jax's.
I'm sure they showed up, and he was like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah. Well, no, Jax called us, called me right after because he left the House of Villains text thread because Shake's there.
Oh, I think you told me that last season.
Yes, and of course Shake put Jax leaves before me once again.
Once again, strike him off the record.
But no, they came. He was just like, he goes, yeah, he goes, they just came to my bar. I was the reward for the first super villain of the week thing, and I was like, sweet. I was like, they get hammered. He goes, they didn't even drink, and he was just like, he goes, why didn't you pick 3 other people to come? And it's just like, no one in the house drinks.
Well, and you don't know where you're going, right? They don't tell you ahead of time.
No. But he was just like, you could have rescheduled, and they're just like, no, Jax, the schedule for the season is kind of already mapped out. So, except sometimes they're running a little behind, and we get to see the cars circle back, and we get to play musical chairs.
Well, I think it was fun. I love seeing Jax back on. I love Bobby this week, obviously.
Oh yeah. Bobby thought he was there for the season 1 finale. That was great.
His nod to like everybody remembering that he just did not show up for the finale was just perfect, because I feel like my limited knowledge of Bobby Lights, I did not watch him on his show, but like, yeah, that's totally a thing. I think CJ
that's his vibe.
GOAT had told me she did not expect On the GOAT to make it as long as she did. She didn't even pack enough to make it more than like a week or two, but she kind of got stuck. And I'm thinking, you could have it's not in her personality, I think, or even like her show personality to be like, well, I'm Bobby Lights, so I'm leaving. So she really stuck it through way longer than she even was prepared for. And Bobby leaving, like, is just, I feel like that's such a key Bobby moment. Like,
oh yeah.
I love to see those nods, going back and watching everybody's original shows. Yes, I can totally see that, where CJ is like such a kind-hearted person and kind of like just goes with the flow and bubbly. I wish the GOAT got as much play as House of Villains, because there's so much opportunity.
It was a tough show. So I felt on the GOAT episode 1 was Tosh and even production to some extent figuring out the show.
Yes.
And then like episodes 2 through 6, I guess, were really like, I really liked it. And then I felt like it was a short, like I felt it ended a little flat. So like there were so many big personalities that went through in that middle section.
Yes.
And you can't control that. I mean, well, you can, but like your hope as a contestant is they can't control that. So, but yeah, no, I enjoyed seeing Tosh get his footing, and I think he had a lot of fun with it. And as I said, I think the first episode he was just like, so am I supposed to be Jeff Probst? And I think everyone kind of circled back, and they're just like, you're not Jeff Probst.
Yeah, finding your footing. And then I absolutely agree. Not that I don't love Jason and everybody else. Jason grew on me because I had no clue who he was until watching the show. But the bigger star power really kind of flamed out quickly, and like the ones with the big followings and really social media centric, like, where are they going? What's happening? Who's left? What's going on?
Well, I mean, like Grocery Store Joe or whatever his name is. Like, he seemed like a nice enough guy.
Yeah.
But like I didn't need to see him.
And he just he did end up having a strategy, but he seemed kind of along for the ride for a very long portion of the show.
I'm not a fan of the along for the ride people. Like that's not my kind of play.
Shocking.
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
would have guessed that about
Yeah,
you.
no. So yeah. So and then Wendell, I mean, like Wendell basically explained to everyone repeatedly that not only was he on Survivor, that he won Survivor, and for these outside of this universe player, they're just like, okay, I don't know anything about Survivor, I don't know anything about Wendell, but this guy won't stop telling me how he won $1 million. I guess I should just get rid of him.
Yeah, do you feel like that puts a target on people's backs? Because like
Yes, and I
Wes
downplay.
and
They're just like, did you win Survivor? No,
yeah,
I did not win. They don't get like, what's Survivor like? You live on an island, you're trying to get water, and just like, oh my god, so you just have nothing in your life. I'm like, pretty much. So on the island, outside the island, I'm hoping to eat tomorrow. That's
or
yeah.
on House of Villains, Teresa, if you have a cookbook or several cookbooks, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, I would not have volunteered to cook. Everybody hating her
I think
food.
there's potentially two things at play here.
Okay.
A, ghostwriter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Or B, I think she would have enjoyed her time at Jax's, and I would not be shocked if maybe there was a little wine drinking during the cooking.
Okay.
It's like, oh, let me add a little salt. Gulp, gulp. Oh, I need to add a little salt. Gulp, gulp. Have I even added salt yet? Let me add some salt. That happens.
Italian family, right? Like born with cooking every Sunday, sauce, meatballs, the whole nine. And so I'm like, Teresa knows how to cook. Even if she hasn't cooked in a decade, she knows how to cook. And then everybody just not liking her food. But she was a good sport about it. I mean, joking around, obviously.
And once again, an indicator of how out of the mix Hatch was, because Hatch is like, I'm trying to gain some traction here. Jesse didn't eat his food. He doesn't like your food. He's just moving it around his plate. And Aaron's like, yeah. Like, it's just like,
I don't like
Hatch,
it either.
we're not playing Survivor.
There is definitely.
You didn't ask Jesse how many Instagram followers he has. Your question doesn't count.
Yeah, if it's not social media, we don't want to know. What is your TikTok following? That's the important thing. It's very interesting to see the people who are hard game players or attempting to be hard game players. And then I feel like there's always a couple every season who it's like Shake, I'm just here for the ride. I don't know what's happening. I've never been on a competition show before.
Well, Shake started the game as I'm just here for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then the closer we got to the end and him surviving, elimination after elimination, he's just like, well, maybe I should figure this out. And Bananas was his roommate, and so the three of us would hang out a lot. But Bananas would be like, all right, I've had enough Shake for the day, I'm gonna go take a nap.
I feel like he was very also, under your wings.
Work on the rest of the house. And that would just leave me and Shake talking. And Shake would be like, hey, Fairplay, will you tell me how to play this? And so, I kind of took him under the learning tree.
Yeah, it felt more like he was your baby bird and Banana's baby bird, like just kind of flying, like whatever you guys say he's going to do.
So, because, well, in respect to Bananas, like, he would get his fill throughout the day. He was stuck with Shake at night. Like he slept right beside him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, I'm done with this conversation for the day. I don't like to talk gameplay, and I've hung out. When I go to bed, this guy's gonna be right there with 20 more questions. So let me subtract 20 questions from the afternoon.
You spread it out.
Yes.
That's fair enough. Did you like the twist of the knock blocker this last episode or so? It kind of like stretched into the 2 episodes of being able to save somebody.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. So, I mean, if you look at what House of Villains is, it's an homage to all the previous competition game shows. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're literally just stealing from all these shows and all these tropes. So, you have the trope of you eliminate someone else shows up. We see it on Traders and all that. You have the whatever super whatever power and Big Brother, like all this stuff has been done before. They're just paying homage to these things. So and one of the challenge producers is from Survivor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be a lot of crossover. I never considered that on the back
which
end.
one of the segment producers, it's Katie Gallagher from Survivor, who's a producer on the challenge now.
Okay.
So there's this synergy, like it's not like and which Dave, one of the main producers, he's from I Love Money.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
did
I
I Love
never
New York and all.
considered that. Of course.
So this isn't any of these guys' first rodeo. Like they've been doing this since 2005 or four, they've been doing it 20 plus years. They all know. They've all seen, like I'm sure they're sitting around at the meeting, and they're just like, oh, remember that, oh, remember that, oh, remember that. None of these are new ideas. So, but it's not. They're not pretending that it is. They're literally saying, hey, do you remember when reality television was awesome? We're just giving you that stuff.
Yeah, I like the nods, whether it's in the costumes or the challenges, the throwbacks to Survivor, to Real Housewives. I do like that because as a reality TV fan, you really like to see not only the cast coming together, but like the recognition of these great shows.
Yeah.
I am going to guess the answer for this, but this was a question that came up. So things like the electric shock on this latest challenge, or like on your season, the bugs and like the snakes and all of that. Do you guys have any control over the requests you can make? Like, I absolutely will not do this kind of a thing. I will not stick my hand in bugs, or I will not be electric shocked.
Well, I mean, so before we play the game, they're just like, is there anything that you're scared of? And so I being the smart person, I'm like, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's what I would think
telling
too.
them what to use against me. These idiots are just like, oh yeah, please no spiders, no heights,
Right?
no snakes, electric fence. I've been frightened of those since I was a little. They were literally telling them what to use on it.
Yeah, that's what I would
I'm not scared of anything. So just don't call me late for dinner. So.
I would think
but no, as far as competitions, you're not required. Case in point, Omarosa, you're not required to do anything. Does it put you subject to elimination?
Yeah,
sure. Because if everyone else, even if they have any of these phobias or whatever, there is a competitive spirit in a lot of the people chosen to play. So they're going to at least try, and if you don't at least try, they're going to use that against you.
I have two final questions before we get into a little bit of Love is Blind. So on the topic of House of Villains, is there one person who you are rooting for, who you really hope is the ultimate supervillain of the season?
What, for this season? Ooh, I mean, Jesse and I just have such a long history.
Okay.
After Big Brother, we met in Vegas, and I got him and myself signed to a 1-year deal in Winnipeg. We did this WFX
nice.
Wrestling, and we filmed, I want to say, every 6 weeks for the entire year of 2011. I got a clip on my YouTube, youtube.com/after show. You can look it up there. But we did a storyline where I was looking for someone to manage. I found this guy, Eugene, who was a not very smart, very almost childlike wrestler. And he had just left WWE. And I was just like, hey, you were in WWE, right? He was like, yeah. I'm like, did you make a lot of money? He goes, yeah. And I saved it all. And I'm like, great. He was just like, well, how are you doing, Jonny Fairplay? I was just like, oh, not good. My grandma's really sick and I need this money for an operation. He goes, well, I could help you. And
again? You did it again?
I was like, would you like to be my best friend? He's like, I would love to be your best friend. I'm just like, well, do you want to be like officially my best friend? He's like, sure. I was like, well, sign this contract. It makes you my best friend. And it was a power of attorney. And so basically, the storyline is I steal all of his money. I put him in an insane asylum. And then I use his money to bring in Jesse Goddard and this other guy, John Cutler. And I manage them and the Hollywood Love Guns. And so we're these bad tag team, we're running roughshod. And out of nowhere, Eugene comes back, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "That was not nice what you did to me, but I made a new friend, and it's Rupert." So Rupert is his new friend, and they have Bushwhacker Luke, and it's this whole 1-year deal that led to a 6-man tag team match. Me, Jesse, and John Cutler versus Rupert from Survivor, Bushwhacker Luke, WB Hall of Famer, and Eugene. So it was great, and of course, I get beat up at the end.
Would you have it any other way, though?
Oh wow, yes, I would. I would love to win.
But you have to bring up your stars. You have to, kind of play them up, and
Yeah. So
then
as far as my winner picks, I'm not gonna go all in here, but I'm gonna go guy and girl, and I'm going
okay.
Jesse and Camilla.
I like Camilla too. I mean, obviously Wes, but I would say Wes and Camilla if I had to pick.
Sure.
Now I know.
Honorable mention to Victoria. I have zero desire for Victoria to go
Really?
anywhere. I think she's great TV.
Oh, she's great TV. I don't think
Zero
as far
chance of
as
winning.
like super villain status. Yeah, I don't.
Or maybe
I
a
am.
zero vote finalist. Who's to say? I think she's in this game for a while.
She could be a shake carry, I think, especially with her relationship with Wes. She's definitely riding on those smart to ride on those coattails. But and then in the promo for the next set of episodes, they've had a very specific spelling when they were talking about who's going to claim the crown. It was the number 2, claim the crown. Do you think there will be 2 winners this season?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I hope not.
I felt like that was very intentional because, like you said, they pull things from different reality shows. They're very intentional with how they do things and throwbacks. And so I was just I don't know if anybody else caught it, but I noticed that and I wrote it down and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be different this season. Maybe there will be a fan vote.
But they're not going to do a fan. They also try to be cool, like even that, what was it? It rhymes with hit show, and like so they've done and they've done other stuff where there's cuss words in the stuff, and they've done the symbols and all that. So no, I think it's just cool, like because it's a throwback. This is throwback to 2005. Crazy real. And we used to do the twos and it's just, I think it's just a callback to a simpler time.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a hint for upcoming.
It could be. I might be completely wrong here, but I'm just going to I'm going with it's just it's cool, but is it because I'm 50, and so it's
yeah. Okay, and then on to just a little bit of Love is Blind. You mentioned that you haven't made it through the finale of the wedding episode, so I'm not going to give anything away.
Yeah, I saw the first wedding, and then as we mentioned earlier, I just got back from Scotland and London. Literally, I was on a Tuesday night. I was at Arsenal Arena, 85,000 people, 8 p.m. game, get back to my Airbnb at midnight, 4 a.m. wake up call. I'm on a flight from London to Boston at 8 a.m., Boston to Raleigh, North Carolina, hour and a half drive from Raleigh, North Carolina to my house, quick bite to eat, watch Survivor, did a podcast at 9:30 p.m. So that
you are always on the go.
Yesterday, 3 podcasts, and then this morning, wake up. So yeah, I have literally been just boom, boom, boom. So last night, we watched an episode and a half. So we're halfway through the finale. We're this close. So anxiously looking forward to the live reunion. I hope the rich guy is there to explain to us.
He will be there. I do know that.
Oh, wow. Is he rich?
Based on I wasn't at the reunion, but based on his apartment and the reels that he's doing, I'm gonna go maybe not as much as he made himself out to be.
Oh,
Unless he lives very low, but beyond, like, below his means.
Well, the richest people I know, they have lunch every day at Sam's Club. They do the free samples, and if that's not enough, they just go to the grocery store and eat grapes and pretend like they're old and they don't know any better.
Okay.
So yeah, there is
If
that.
so you didn't make it to Ashley and Tyler's wedding. Do you think that they say I do?
No, Ashley and Tyler were the first wedding. Taylor was the second
I thought
wedding.
it was the other way around.
No.
Okay. So, well, I feel like do you think Taylor and Garrett say I do?
I think so. Like, I mean, it's funny because I'm a big fan of the train wrecks on Love is Blind. Like that's what I watch for.
Yeah.
And I found them so likable that I was actually rooting for them. So,
okay.
So, whereas, Mr. Babymaker, I'm just like, hey, Ashley, there's 3 red flags that I'm aware of.
Which, of course, you don't know. We're just finding this out a year later. It is very easy. If he deleted everything from his social media, like all the pictures and everything of the kids, to just get away with saying that he's a sperm donor. I mean, we'll see at the reunion, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
I think there's a lot more to this story, Scoop Brady.
I think so too. Have you seen the baby mama's social media at all, like her explanations?
No. I purposely stay away from all that. Like I look after the fact. I like to just watch the show and then go into the live reunion blind. and I like to be like, oh shit, this is crazy. Oh, I love this. Oh, more tea, please. Keep pouring.
Sometimes they miss the biggest opportunities on the reunion, though.
They didn't last season. What was the?
No, they did good.
What was the big nice guy
last season?
Yeah. Vince.
Trevor.
Trevor. Oh my God, Trevor. When they have a countdown to when you show up, don't
show up. Don't.
If they're like, hey, we're gonna have everyone out but you, there's a special timer. That is the timer for you to leave the exit as quickly as you can. You're just like, you know what? I just remembered I have to return some VHS tapes to Blockbuster.
And Jeremy and Vince were on last week, and they said that, of course, they didn't tell Trevor that they had those text messages and that they knew. And so his panic attack was real. That wasn't like staged for TV or anything. And prior seasons, Nick and Vanessa let a lot slide or really defended, kind of were unbiased. Well, unbiased with, I think, their favorite cast members, maybe not personal favorites, but fan favorites or whatever the case may be. But they really came down hard on Trevor. And I'm not saying it's not justified that he was there for the wrong reasons, but it definitely affected his long-term mental health to the point.
Oh, I'm sure. That was just an attack. I mean, like that was just like it was like a Chris Hansen. Like,
yes, that's a good point.
Like, oh my God. I mean, because did he fuck up? Yes. I mean, did he fuck up big time? Yes. But I mean, unless he got the kindest edit in the world prior to that, he just seemed like just a big, goofy, dumb, nice guy.
Yes, he did. We were everybody was like, Chelsea did Trevor dirty and she should have picked Trevor. And then you see that, you're like, oh, she dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Would you change?
Did she?
Yeah, and then everything worked out the way it worked out. Yeah. So, and then everybody said that Jimmy dodged a bullet. Yeah. So the biggest complaint this season from fans has been, what is production doing? What is casting doing? They're not digging enough dirt. Having seen the other side of the production process, what would you change about a show like Love is Blind?
Nothing. I think it's great. I don't. Yeah, okay. I love that. I think the dirt is great. If I have zero desire, like if the entire show is Taylor and what's the last two? What's that?
Taylor and Garrett and Ashley.
Yeah. If Love is Blind is Taylor and Garrett, I have zero desire. As I said,
Mhm.
it's against what's inside me to root for them, but I am but that's not the TV show for me. Like, I mean, like my fiance might like that, and and if I pass the room, like, I'm not going to be like, turn that off. I can't stand it. But like, it's just like, hey, if that is what Love Is Blind is, I have zero desire to watch Love Is Blind. I want to
Mhm.
see, are you kidding? Like, let's go to your parents' basement. I thought you had a pool table. Yeah, but that's where we fold the shirts.
Yeah.
That's where my eight years of comic book collections and baseball cards
Yes.
are held.
Nick and Hannah.
Yeah. So yeah, like yeah, I want Nick. I want all the couples to be Nick and Hannah.
I do think there needs to be at least one couple who is a Taylor and Garrett, but I
That's
want
fine.
the drama too. I think everybody who says, "Oh, we want more genuine love stories," it would be so boring.
Well,
It would be
as
like
I said,
this
I feel
episode.
like that show that show in which it all works, it's all Taylor and Garrett or whatever.
Mhm.
That's a good show for life.
The
If
Hallmark
Lifetime did a reality
Lifetime,
dating
yeah.
show, that's the show.
Well, Lifetime now has Married at First Sight, which is
Okay,
its own dumpster fire.
okay, well, but if they could script.
True. Okay.
Yes, that would be that show. Yeah, I have zero to. I want a Shake every season. I want a Hannah every season. I want all of this bad. And yeah, if the dirt's there and finally surfaces, even better. So I want that live reunion to be the worst night of all time.
You want everybody to be miserable, all
Yes.
the tea to spill.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
If
I want I want whatever couples are together is just like, and here's my side piece, come on out.
and now we're a throuple, but you didn't know it.
Yes, we'll be
If
on next season of Netflix's Couple of Trouble, keeping it in house.
So now we've had 7 seasons of Love Is Blind. Jonny Fairplay, we know that Shake has already been on. Who is your pick for House of Villains? Love Is Blind. Which cast?
I think Izzy's writing his resume every week.
He's really turning it around, though. He's getting a lot of fan love now, especially that everything came out with Shelby, with his ex and
Yeah.
everything, and then Stacy kind of tag teaming
Yeah.
that whole situation. But yeah, I would love to see his on there, but I think he'd get eaten alive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do that rich dude from this season. I don't know if there's
Leo.
enough meat on the bone, and like Shake. I don't think you watched Shake and you were just like, I think something's wrong with that guy. Like, you might not like him, but you're
Right.
just like, okay, this guy. I mean, he's obviously a veterinarian, you know. Uh, uh, I don't know. As I said, you can dislike him all you want. There's just, I don't feel like there's something mentally wrong with him. Where the rich guy from this season, I'm not
Leo.
positive he's all the way there. And I like, like, I don't, maybe House of Villains is not the show for him.
I had reached out to him because he said, obviously, he's an art dealer. He is going to feature a different artist each week of Love Is Blind to promote on his social media, on an Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And so I don't know if you can see the art behind me. My
Yep.
chair's kind of blocking it. But my ex, who is a very good friend of mine, does pointillism. And I was like, this would be great. He does nail sculptures, he does canvases. Leo did not feature, he kind of like nodded to one artist, but I'm like, Leo,
Mhm.
besides talking about money, if
Yeah.
you're going to say publicly that you're going to do something, like that's going to make you the biggest villain of all, is when you're making these promises you can't keep. And then it's to say you have all this money and then you guys go to Miami
Yeah.
of all places, like so exotic, so worldly.
Yeah,
Let's
I still want the explanation on why they didn't have to go to Cancun or whatever, and
oh,
that I'm hoping that's addressed on the reunion, because like I just found myself, I'm like, can I ask I have 8 questions.
Yeah, can I be at? You
And
know
I'm
what?
pretty
Could
sure
you
I know the
replace?
answer to 12 of those 8.
I would like to see you host that reunion. That would be so much more fun because Nick and
No,
Vanessa, you
no,
know.
no, no. Because if we don't get Nick there, then Shake doesn't know what to do with all of his mean Instagram stories for 2 weeks. So he saves them up.
The production explanation for Leo and Brittany not making it to Mexico was that they did not think that they were going to last, so that they decided not to continue on with them. Now, I'm like, so what? Why did you give us 5 episodes of this couple? We knew that some of these other
Oh, no,
couples were
no.
not going to
I
make
have
it.
no problem with them, the 5 episodes of this couple. It was worth every second. Oh, yes.
But you
Yeah.
didn't want to see that continue on. I wanted more of
Oh, I
that.
wanted more, but like I think she was just like, oh my God, like
Oh yeah, you could see the
I need
eyes
help.
were.
This. So, but I think if she had been with, there's a part of me that wanted her to be with someone else, because who was the girl that Izzy was with in his season?
Stacey.
Stacey, yeah. Which, I didn't feel like was a good person by the end of that. And I felt like Brittany had a lot of Stacey in her, and I wanted that to be revealed. But then, so I kind of wanted, but then I was just like, oh, this Leo asshole. I like, if she is as bad as I think, he deserves evil Brittany.
Yeah.
And this is gonna.
They were meant for each other for TV purposes. Maybe not for love purposes, but for TV purposes.
Well, as long as she has a whistle for help and mace, I think she would have been fine. But
she's at the bar ordering angel
like
shots.
double beds,
Separate rooms, maybe.
separate room. Yeah, I don't even.
I would like to see Hannah on House of Villains season 3, because just watching her on the show, and then how she's still making fun of Nick now.
Yeah. So see, the problem with Hannah is that love, like as I mentioned earlier, there's 10 cast members. You want to kind of keep it evenly divided.
Right.
That Love Is Blind spot is kind of a guy.
It has to be a guy.
It doesn't have
I
to,
could
but
see.
I mean, like, but where, like, are you not going to put a housewife on? Are you not,
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
as
maybe
I
not
said,
another Bad Girls
if you
Club.
wanted, I'm sure there's assholes from The Bachelor. So if you switch
Oh
that
God,
spot,
yeah. Oh
so,
God, yeah. Of course.
yeah.
Every season of The Bachelor is an asshole from The Bachelor.
Yeah, but I feel like with that Bachelor spot, everybody wants like the hot Bachelorette chick.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Corinne was great. Her little
Corinne was perfect. Victoria's perfect. So why are we gonna fuck up that chemistry? Like we're
Well, the last seasons, when you compare like The Bachelor to The Bachelorette last seasons, there are way more male villains than there are female villains of recent. But they are throwing it back with Victoria and Corinne having been on like quite a few seasons prior.
Sure. Well, which got Shake's spot for season 2. I know they reached out to the dude from Squid Game.
Oh, okay.
But he's under contract to Netflix, so he couldn't do it.
Was it Brighton?
Yeah.
And he did Perfect Match too. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
that
why.
was
Yeah.
overlapping.
So, but yeah, they reached out. So I guess Netflix is trying to.
They have that reality universe that hopefully they'll do something with now.
Yes, that's what they're looking towards. So because there was a show that they reached out to me and a bunch of survivors and Big Brother and even the challenge. They were going to do this new show, and it was for Netflix, and we all made it pretty far into the process, and then last minute they're just like, scrap that, we're just using Netflix people.
That makes sense then, because I was wondering, like, there was nobody from The Circle, there was nobody from Love Is Blind this season, and there's plenty of villains to choose from.
Yeah, I think they're locking them in. So I feel like The Circle's dropped off huge, like off a cliff.
Oh yeah, they didn't even promote it this season. It was like they just threw it on TV and we'll see
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah.
But everybody who's I've talked to who's been on The Circle has said that there will not be another season of The Circle. Which is unfortunate, but you know, it kind of had its day.
This past season, they reached out to Corinne from Survivor, and like last minute, and basically like they're like, "We'll do anything," and she was like, "No,
no, thank you. I've had enough of that."
Yeah.
Well, I will end this on the one final announcement that I'm so excited. I haven't announced it on the podcast yet. I've announced it on social media, but the Love Pod is officially joining Jonny Fairplay's network. So will you tell us a little bit about Reality After Show Network and maybe some of the other shows that are going to be on there?
Oh, we're loaded. Holy moly. So it's a Reality After Show. If you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you podcast or listen to your podcast, just search Reality After Show. And then if you're watching, it's youtube.com/aftershow. Very easy to find. And weekly, we have 2 Survivor podcasts. I do a Survivor podcast. Kelly Wentworth does a Survivor podcast. She has a guest from other seasons of Survivor. We have 2 challenge podcasts. We have we have the one airing right after the show or within minutes of the actual episode, and it's Paulie Calafiore, who's actually on season 40 of the challenge.
Yes, I love Paulie. I don't care what everybody says. I love Paulie.
He's great. He's joined by Dan Moncho and Alex Trias. They do an incredible podcast. And then the next day, Wendell Holland, winner of Survivor, just asking, I'll tell you.
In case you didn't know.
Him and Bryce Isaiah and Joey Hatch, they do a challenge breakdown podcast. We have an anonymous podcast. We have the Summit podcast. We have I do a House of Villains podcast with Jen Hoffman from the amazing, from The Apprentice. We have the Reality Queens. It's Jen Hoffman and Rachel Riley, winner of Big Brother. We have Tribe of Nerds, in which they pick a different topic every week. What else? We have more stuff. We have it's so much. I mean,
too many to name.
Too many to name. So welcome aboard. It's craziness.
Thank you.
So the only downfall, no live shows, because why? We're not a podcast network. We're a broadcast network. And all of our episodes are filmed in 4K, and
which you cannot do online.
It's worth a 1 hour wait. It's fun.
Well, thank you, Jonny, and make sure you check out Reality After Show and all the Survivor and Challenge coverage, and Love Is Blind and House of Villains. This man does not sleep.
Apparently, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe November. We're gonna pencil it in.
Okay.